Welcome to the Return of the Egyptian Heaven and Hell by E.A. Wallis Budge, Volume 2, Chapter 4. The Gate of Aqebi. And I'll find out how to pronounce that in a second here. The Boat of the Sun. Oh, the third division of the Tuat. The Boat of the Sun, having passed through the second division of the Tuat, arrives at the gateway which leads to the third division. This gateway is unlike the first, which already has been described, for its opening is protected by an outwork, similar to that which protects the door of a fortified building. That outwork is guarded by 9 entities in the form of mummies, who are described as the second company of the demons. And in this wall, which completely divides the second division from the third, is an opening which leads to a corridor that runs between 2 walls, the tops of which are protected by rows of pointed stakes. At the entrance to the corridor stands an entity in the mummified form called Ama Wa. Ooh. And at the exit is a similar entity. Oh, doesn't that mean it's entities? Is a similar entity called Such Bus Nuf Nan. Each is said to extend his arms and hands to Ra, which is, that phrase is pronounced Ka Huth Ae A Fut Ra U E. And the gate of the serpent Aqebi is shown here. And let's see if I can find the name real quick. Kahuth. Okay, I can't find it that quick. So I'll go on. At each side of the angles near... Oh, we got spitting snakes. You see that? You saw how the one snake kind of spits to the snake, kind of... That's some skill. Either like this or like that. That's some spitting skill those spitting cobras have, and the third snake going up like... Anyways, the entrance to the corridor is a serpent who ejects flames from his mouth. Flames, okay. The flame from the one sweeps along the corridor, at each end of which it is met by the flame of another serpent, which sweeps along the inside of the inner wall. The flames of these serpents are said to be for Ra, Sutut, Sun Ra'e. The gateway leading the third division is called Supad Wa Wa'u, and the door thereof, which opens inwards, is guarded by the serpent standing on his tail, which is Aqebi. Oh, Aqebi, not Ah. I kept thinking maybe it was Ah, but it's the vulture. And faces outwards. The text referring to the entrance of Ra through this gateway reads, "When this entity cometh to this gateway to enter in through this gateway, the entities who are therein acclaim this great entity, saying, Let this gateway be unfolded to Kate, and let the doors be opened to him that is in heaven. Come then, O thou traveller, who dost journey in the Yemen, He who is over this door openeth it to Ra. Sa saith unto Aqebi-The, open thy gate to Ra, unfold thy door to Tuat. He shall illuminate the darkness, and he shall force a way for the light in the habitation which is hidden. This door is closed after the great entity hath entered through it, and there is lamentation to those who are in their gateway when they hear this door close. Along the middle of the third division, we see the boat of the sun being drawn. Along by 4 entities, as before. The demon Ra stands in a shrine similar to that already described, and his companions are Sa and Hakau. The rope by which the boat is towed along is fastened to the 2 ends, the very remarkable object in the form of a long beam, each end of which terminates in a bull's head. The accompanying text describes it as his boat, which ends with a F. And from the fact that the 4 entities who towed the boat along are seen again in the other end of the beam-like object with towing rope in their hands, it is clear that the boat of Ra and the entity himself were believed to pass through it from one end to the other. The object is supported on the shoulders of 8 entities in mummified form, who are called the bearers of the entities, the bearers of the demons. So, Fa I U Sa U Netru. At each end, immediately behind the bull's head, stands a bull, and at intervals 7 entities called the entities who are within Netru Yamu are seated upon it, and at the end of this division stands 4 mummified forms, with their elbows projecting and their hands crossed on their breast. The text which refers to the passage of the boat of the sun reads, and to show you what's going on here, and let me, before I share of this here, because it's over 100-year-old work, so it's fine to talk about, but I want to make that okay, where's the sa? So it's, I've said it before, but I don't remember whether it's sasine or a sod sound that's first in that. Sa. I think it's a saw, which, yeah. When Yemen, Yemen, I want to get this right. Kunte. So it's kunte. Oh, kunte. Unfolds. Okay, I just want to make sure I figured out how to say that before moving on. This great demon is towed along by the entities of the Tuat, and this great entity advanceth to the boat of the earth, which is the bark of the demons. Ra saith unto them, Hail, you demons who bear up this boat of the earth, who lift up the bark of the Tuat. May there be support in your forms, and light unto your bark. Holy is he who is in the boat of the earth. I make to go back to the bark of the Tuat, which beareth my forms, and verily I travel into the hidden habitations to perform the plans which are carried out therein. Enerkata saith, Enerkata, Enerkata. Praised be the soul which the double bowl have swallowed, and let the entity be at peace with that which he hath created. So the demiurgic form, but let me Enerkata. Okay. I'm not sure. Because it's something repeated twice. Okay, we have Ta-u, Ta, Knert. That's not repeated twice. Okay, I'm going to have to take its word for it because I'm not noticing it right now. But doesn't it kind of remind you of what happens with the, in the Goetia with Pamun? Because Pamun is guided along by his company, and so Ra is like Pamun, number 9 of the Goetia, in some respects. The effect of the above words is to allow the sun entity, Yeth, and his boat to pass through the double bull-headed boat of the earth without any let or hindrance. When he hath done this, these entities say to Ra, praised be Ra, whose soul hath been absorbed by the earth entity. Praise be the entities of Ra, who hath rested the boat of its Tuat, rejoiceth, and there cries from them after Ra hath passed them by as he journeyeth on his way. Their offerings are the plants of the year, and the offerings are given to them which they hear the words of those who draw along this great entity, the entities of the Tuat, who draw the holy boat in the earth, say unto a Tau, whose arms are hidden, O Yo, Utau of the earth, whose duty it is to stand near his habitation, whose heads are uncovered, and whose arms are hidden. May there be air to your nostrils, O Utau, and may your funeral swathings be burst open, that you may have mastery over your meats, and that you have peace in that which I have created. Their food is of bread cakes, and their bread is made of the red grain. The draughts which they drink are of water, and their meat is given unto them because of the whiteness of their apparel in the Tuat. Of the right-hand side of this division of the Tuat, the boat of the sun passes 12 shrines, each of which has its doors thrown wide open, and so permits us to see an entity in mummified form standing inside it. These entities are described as the holy entities who are in the Tuat. And, okay, Utaut. But, see, we got a series of entities there. And there we have those jinn. And those they're encountering in the spiritual realms. And we have Nichru, Ryu, Yamu, Tuat. Along the front of the 12 shrines stretches an enormous serpent, the duty of which is to protect those who stand in them. Beyond the shrines is a long basin or lake of boiling water, which with rounded ends, in which stand up to their waist 12 mummified entities with black heads, who either have white bodies or are arrayed in white apparel. In front of each entity grows a large ear of wheat. These entities are described as the entities in the boiling lake. Nichuru, Yamu, Sheh, the okay. The Cobbs and the Coup, that sort of thing. Entities in the boiling lake. Well, they're not some hell of the afterlife, I guess, maybe at this point, or maybe the hell of the afterlife. But, demons can show some pretty terrifying things. And the text which relates to both groups of beings is as followed. And, okay, the serpent Sat. Let me make sure I got the Shanu. Okay, I think I got what I'm gonna. Okay. Their shrines are the members of this entity, whose shrines the serpent's guardeth Ra, saith unto them, open ye your shrines, so that my radiance may penetrate the darkness in which ye are. I found you weeping and lamenting with your shrines tightly closed, but air shall be given to your nostrils, and I have decreed that ye shall have abundance to overflowing. And these entities saith unto Ra, Hail, Ra, cometh thou into our lake, O thou great entity who never failest. The Shanu entities who are before and behind him pay homage to him, and they rejoice in Ra when he traverseth their region. And when this great entity journeyeth through the secret place, their food consisteth of loaves of bread, their drink is made from the red, and their cool waters come from water, and the serpents of fire giveth unto them the things whereon they live there, the door which shutteth them and closeth after this entity hath passed through their midst, and they utter cries of grief when they hear the doors shut upon them. And it says that the Faburis les Hypoges Royaux, the Thebes. Is that how you pronounce the French? It was sold in Paris in 1886. And the entities of the boiling lake, people think, oh, no, if I'm a failure, I can just repeat it until I can, no, it doesn't work that way. And even that which you survive, some stuff can happen to you from these entities, that they can show you some pretty horrible things and put you through some horrible things because you've crossed a certain point. So consider carefully your spiritual path, right? The following refers to the lake of water in this division. The lake of water which is in the Tuat and is surrounded by the entities who are arrayed in their apparel and who have their heads uncovered. This lake is filled with green herbs. The water of this lake is boiling hot, and the birds betake themselves to flight when they see the waters thereof, and when they smell the foetid smell which is in it. Unto these entities saith Ra, O ye entities, whose duty it is O ye entities whose duty it is, the green herbs of your lake, whose heads are uncovered and whose limbs are covered with garments, may there be air to your nostrils, and may offerings be made to you of the green herbs. May your meat be from your lake, the water thereof shall be yours, but to you it shall not be boiling, and the heat thereof shall not be upon your bodies. Those entities say unto Ra, Come thou unto us, O thou who sailest in thy boat, whose eyes is of blazing fire, which consumeth, and hath the people which sendeth forth light. The beings of the Tuat shout with joy when thou approacheth. Send forth thy light upon us, O thou great entity who hast fire in thine eyes. Their food consisteth of loaves of bread and green herbs, and their drink is of the content plants, and their cool water is from water, and food shall be given unto them in abundance from this lake. On the left of the path along which the boat of Ra passeth in this division of the Tuat are two groups of beings. In the first of these we see the entity Tum, in the form of an aged man with bent shoulders, leaning on a staff, coiled up before him in voluminous folds, with its head flat upon the ground, is the monster serpent Pep. Behind Pep stands 9 men with their arms hanging down by their sides. These are called the Cha Nut Su Mudaf Sa Pepi. You know, the cha who repel Pepe. And the second group is Tem, in a similar attitude, and before him stand 9 entities, each holding the symbol of life in the right hand, and the scepter in the left, the Ust. And the 9 entities are called Nebu Khert. Nebu Khert. Nebu Khsertu. Rulers of destinies. Well, we're supposed to be our own ruler of destiny. The text which refers to these groups reads, and the repellers of Pep we see here. And onwards we go. Well, towards the end of this, okay. We have the first group shows us what Tem hath done for Ra, and how he hath protected the entity by words of magical power, and hath overthrown the serpent Spe. Okay, what's the serpent Spe? Oh, Spie. Okay. 6. So is 6 the word for serpent? It's interesting that sex is the word for serpent, but okay. Thou art prostrate, and thou shalt never more rise up. Thou art enchanted by enchantments, and thou shalt never more be found. The word of my father is Ma'at. Truth. Against thee, and my word is Ma'at against thee, I have destroyed thee for Ra, and I have made an end of thee for Qti. 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 Okay, I'm not gonna remember. The company of the entities of Ra, who repulseth Apep, saith, Thy head is slit, O Apep, thy folds are gashed, and thou shalt never more envelop the boat of Ra, and thou shalt never again make a way into the divine bark. A flame of fire goeth out against thee from the hidden place, and we have condemned thee to thy dire doom. The 9 live upon the food of Ra, and upon the cakes of Yamata, for the offerings are made upon their behalf upon earth, and libations of cool water made unto them by the Lord of food before Ra. To the second group of the 9 entities, saith, Inasmuch as ye are the entities who possess life and scepter, and who have mastery over your scepters, drive ye back the serpent, spare from Kutta, gash ye with knives the foul and evil spirit, Yuf, the evil serpent Yuf, the sun entity. See? Osiris is the evil one. These are the entities who worketh after enchantments upon Apep, who opened the earth to Ra, and who shut it against Apep in the gates of Kantiyimta, and they are those in the hidden place, and they praise Ra, and they destroy his enemies, and they protect the great one against the serpent Gifu, and they cry cries of joy at the overthrow by Ra of the enemy of Ra. They live upon the meat of Ra, and on the cakes offered to Kante. Offerings are made on their behalf upon earth, and they receive libations through their word, being Mat in Yimit. And holy are they of arm in their hidden place. They cry, uttering to Ra, and they make lamentation for the great entity after he hath passed by them. For when he hath departed, they are enveloped in darkness, and their circle is closed upon them. And the next chapter is number 5, the gate of Chade, and I'll find that out. I'll figure out how to say that later. But you see the wars between the unseen beings, the psychology of kind of what's going on in, the last third of okay, the saw is saw. Okay, because see, regular S and 2 A's. Okay, that's how you pronounce that part. But I should show you. But we are our own control over our destiny. We can't control all our circumstances, but what we do with our circumstances, that's certainly upon us. And, we don't have to worship whatever we hear about to move with the mythological text. Sharma, peace be upon you.